Hello, and welcome to Temple of the False Pod, where our decks aren't optimized, but our plays sure as heck are fun. I'm Bruce.
I'm Andy. Oh, that was fun, right?
That was bizarre.
Yeah.
Bizarre. What is it? We get through 11 seasons, and this is the first time I'm going to lead off. It may be the last time for quite some time.
Oh, I thought it was nice.
So we're doing what? This is week 2 of our break, and during the breaks, we always do. We like to provide you with a little short episode, a little vignette of a sort of a mini topic of our choosing. In this case, so for last week, Andy opted to talk about where sort of Wizards is going, and with a real focus on some of the multiplayer cards that they're actually starting to produce, where it's going beyond just the basics, and we're both really liking where they're headed. So we took the opportunity to chat about that a little bit last week. My topic, maybe not quite as involved. My topic is going to be straightforward. It's going to be blunt. It's going to be a single card. I want to talk about Vexing Puzzlebox. Just real quick, Vexing Puzzlebox is a 3-mana artifact. It taps to add 1 mana of any color. Roll a d20. There you go. It's your standard 3-mana mana rock with an upside. Now it says roll a d20. It says more than that. It says whenever you roll 1 or more dice, put a number of charge counters on Vexing Puzzlebox equal to the result. Now every time you tap this, you get to roll a d20. So in theory, every time you're tapping this for mana, you're getting 10.5 charge counters on the puzzle box. Then it also has a second ability. Tap, remove 100 charge counters from the puzzle box. Search your library for an artifact card, put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. So I wanted to have a little chat because I love any card that includes die rolling, but I'm not really a fan of tutors. And I can't decide really where I land with this card, because I think getting to 100 is going to be difficult. Although I guess if you're putting it in the deck, you probably have other ways to bump up the counters other than just rolling enough times to get to 100. But I've tried this with, As Luck Would Have It. I think that's the one that puts 100. When you get to 100 counters on it, you win the game. And never made it. Or did I make it once? Don't remember if I ever.
I think maybe once.
I think maybe once. But that was in a deck that included Doubling Season and Primal Vigor and a number of other doublers. And I think I actually had 2 different doublers out at the end. And I got there. Now, so I don't know how often this is going to come up, where you actually get to the 100 counters. The other piece there, something else to note, is that you don't sack the puzzle box when you get to the 100. You just search for an artifact. That puzzle box is still there. You still get to tap it for mana the following turn. You still get to roll another d20. So You can do it again. I can't decide. Andy, how often do you think you're actually going to ever hit this thing? And, I mean, are you really putting it... Do you put it in a deck because you want to be able to search for the artifact, or...
I don't know. I mean, you think about it, I think you're talking probably Buzzbark, right? Is probably where you had it in.
Well, that's the deck that it's in.
Right.
Or, well, I should say, technically it's not in the deck. It's sitting off to the side. It's going to go in the deck. It just isn't in there yet. So I haven't had a game with Vexing Puzzlebox yet.
Yeah, but with As Luck Would Have It, like, you've used it in decks where you've generally only rolled d6s, which on average is 3.5.
Right.
Here you're rolling d20s, which on average is 10.5. Granted, with the d6s you're rolling probably more than 1 at a time.
With Buzzbark you're often rolling 8.
Right. But I think the like you're getting a guaranteed roll of a d20 each round. And that's, if you're not
Yes.
doing untapped shenanigans. So you've got guaranteed a on average
At the
10 and a
least.
half. Yeah. But like even being conservative with that, like, you roll a 7, that's still better than a D6 will ever be.
Yeah.
And so I think like you can generally probably get it done within a few turns. The thing I like the most about this is that it says remove 100 charge counters. On so many of these things, it says remove all counters, like
Yeah.
things that store counters forces you to use all of them. But say you end up with, 116 counters on it for whatever
Right.
reason. You only have to remove 100 of them, which
Yeah.
is cool. But how many times you'll be getting it is, I don't know, maybe once every couple games? Like,
'Cause,
every couple games that it's out.
If you assume that we're looking at, let's assume 4 die rolls will be enough to get it out. Because you've got other doublers, you've got other dice you're rolling for other things. So you play it, you can tap it immediately, so 4 turns. Well, if you're playing it on turn 4, then you're looking at 8 turns before you can get that artifact. And that's assuming nobody's destroyed it in the meantime. But you get the artifact. I don't think you get it a second time, because then you're looking at 12 turns, and again, we're assuming that there's other ways to pump things up, because practically speaking, if you put Vexing Puzzlebox in a deck by itself with no other help, you're looking at 10 turns,
Right.
realistically. And the only artifact you're getting at 10 turns is something that's going to be in play for 1 turn, because the game is basically over.
Yeah.
So I can't decide if this is, like, I don't really want Vexing Puzzlebox to hit regularly.
Yeah.
I mean, in theory, in the right deck, Vexing Puzzlebox, if you play it on turn 3, spend your 3 mana, put it out, tap it immediately, or tap it before your next turn. In theory, you should be able to then tutor. And like I said, tutoring is not what I want out of my decks. It is not. Even something like the puzzle box, where you can only get the artifact, it still has the ability to get that artifact
And put it directly
I'm
on the
just not
battlefield.
sure. Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's free.
It better be at that point.
Well, yes, and you can say that, well, by the time you get it, you could afford to just pay the mana. Well, yes, you could, but you're using that mana on something else. You're getting extra. You
Yeah.
are definitely getting a double. I don't know. Obviously, in higher powered groups, I don't know that the puzzle box ever goes off. I don't know that anybody even would want a 3 mana rock that has almost no upside, unless your entire deck. I mean, if you've got other cards that get benefit from when you roll that D20, well, then maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I mean, so this
Can't
came
decide.
out. This came out with Battle for Baldur's Gate, which had all
Yeah.
those like ancient dragons as well.
Yes.
So like you were getting a lot of benefit from the die rolls on that if you ever got those out as well. But like
Right.
it's interesting too, because like you like, where are you, like, what are you getting? Like I am so, like, I'm sure flavorfully it makes sense that it's an artifact card, but like what is so important in your deck for an artifact that like you have to search it out and like put it directly on a battlefield, like what are the chances you've already drawn it at that point? And like what, like I don't know, like even I feel like even like Bolus's Citadel is like it'll feel anticlimactic, or like even like Portal to Phyrexia is like, yeah, all right, sure, like I don't know. The fact that it says artifact card feels underwhelming.
Yeah,
I honestly think it should be any card, but then it would be broken.
Looking at if this is something you're running, then I think you're looking for 7 mana plus artifact spells, because this is coming out at the end of the game. You're not going to take this and be like, ooh, I finally got my soul ring, because wow, there's no point at that point in the game. You're looking for game ender, the stuff that really counts at the end of the game. So a Platinum Angel, trying to think of some of the other just seven mana plus spells. Oh God, what is it? The
Meteor Golem.
I was thinking about the Infect artifact creature.
Oh, like Darksteel Colossus, or no,
Yes.
the other one.
No. Blightsteel.
That's the one.
So this one would go search for Blightsteel or something like that. And the difficulty I have with that is that it means essentially those cards, there are now 2 of them in my deck.
Yeah.
Because I'm not looking to draw Blightsteel in the early game, and this card isn't going to help me find it in the early game. It's only going to help me find it in the late game when I actually want it. And in the meantime, it's tapping for a mana. And I just can't decide if that's, am I jumping through enough hoops that I can justify this tutor,
Yeah.
or adding this tutor to my deck? Because that's the only upside. If you're not gunning for the tutor effect in this, then it's just a 3-mana mana rock that doesn't do anything. You might as well choose any other 3-mana mana rock that does something else.
Yeah.
But I love rolling dice, so there's that.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, like, that's the whole thing with it, is like what are you going to go find? Is it going to be worth it? And would it just be better to have something else in? And of course it would. But like, then you have the fact that they're charge counters, like there are cards out there that,
move the counters,
move charge counters and such.
Right. And that's something I'm more thinking about, rather than, setting it up to try and get to the 100 counters so I can tutor for an artifact.
Yeah.
Maybe the better option is look at all of the other artifacts that need charge counters, and this thing is going to get 10 when you roll the die. And if you have a way to move all of the counters from one permanent to another, 10 charge counters is going to be enough to do almost anything with any of the other artifacts that use charge counters. So maybe that's sort of the option I should be looking at, as opposed to just, seeing the tutor as the upside. But,
yeah. And I mean, if you have ways to, like, I guess, copy the activated ability, like a lithoform engine, which again is just like all right, fine, like you've got ways to copy your trigger, but like it ends up being like, oh, like if you add this thing or this thing, and it's like, yeah, okay, fine, like you've got a snowball of things. But like lithoform engine, you can copy the triggered ability, you can copy the first ability, get 2 mana out of it, and 2 die rolls for 2 mana. So you're essentially just filtering your mana at that point, and then also getting 2 die rolls. And if you've got your thumb out, then you've got 4 die rolls. But like, it already requires such a specific amount of things to be in place for that. But I don't know, like it's interesting.
Right.
Because
so,
I think
for now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. So like for now, I'm looking at this card, and obviously it goes in Buzzbark, because I throw so many dice, and I already know that Buzzbark, with as luck would have it on the battlefield, I get really close to the 100. And that's just throwing 6-sided dice. You add in the Vexing Puzzlebox, and suddenly, I think Vexing Puzzlebox has to go in for As Luck Would Have It, because having both of them in there would maybe it'll be a lot less out of luck in getting to 100 counters with that than with the puzzle box. The other place where I'm looking at putting it is into a Muzio deck that I'm working on, because it has a number of expensive artifacts, because that's sort of where I want to be with the Muzio deck. But it would mean there would always be something there to search for. And it also means that when I tutor, I'm not tutoring for the same card every time. And I do find that, if I'm running tutors, I don't want it to be for the same card. Give me a group of cards where I can go find any one of them. So I'm thinking about that, but I think that's where it's going to go. And once I get a little more practical experience with the deck, if that turns out the puzzle box is, isn't cutting it or is doing too good a job, then maybe it's time to figure something else out.
Yeah. Because even looking at your Buzzbark deck now, right?
Yeah.
You've got 8 artifacts, including the puzzle box.
Yeah.
So, other than the puzzle box and Soul Ring and Gruul Signet, you've got 5 possible, I guess, things. Yeah. You've got Panharmonica.
Okay.
Great Henge.
Yeah.
Krark's Other Thumb, which presumably is already out if you have gotten to 100.
100, yeah.
Erratic Portal and Ashnod's Altar, which honestly 2 of them, really just one of them, is the target for this. You're going to want the Great Henge. That's...
Yeah. I could see Ashnod's Altar, but that's mostly if you're stuck and you're looking at, destroying all the creatures and turning it into something else. But
yeah, I think the dangerous thing with this card is not necessarily the fact that it is a tutor, but because of its restrictions, because of the way that it's been dialed in, your deck slowly or even quickly just transforms around it, and then how often are you actually going to find it? So it's you got to be careful of not making the deck too based around the box, but actually having things to do with it when it does work.
Right. Well, then there's the other option, right? As it gets closer to 100, suddenly it becomes a bigger target than some of the other things. And if my opponents don't understand that I've got nothing to go find, then maybe they throw away.
Yeah.
They throw away a piece of artifact destruction on it in the hopes of avoiding whatever it is that I'm going to pull. So
yeah, and I think kind of going back to what you said earlier, I think the thing to do with this is just have it the tutor is nice, but the rolling the D20 is really what this is about. Having effects that are based on any time you roll a die type of thing. But yeah.
So I just wanted to have a little chat. If any of you folks out there have a little more experience with the Vexing Puzzlebox, let me know. I'm definitely interested in hearing what thoughts you have. And as you all know, we record a little bit ahead of time. So by the time this goes live, I may have a little bit of experience of my own to share. So love to
probably not, because you're going to be in Canada.
Well, it may be, but I got at least 1 week in between.
Yeah,
we'll see. So, all right.
Yeah,
that's it for me.
We're Temple of Falspod. Where decks are not optimized, but our plays sure as heck are fun. I'm Andy.
I'm Bruce.
Man, it feels good to say that. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great night. May your 5th land be the Temple. Wait. Before you go, I just wanted to say thank you for listening. You can reach out to us via email at falsepodmtg@gmail.com or on Twitter @falsepodmtg. Bruce is at ManaBurned, and I'm at Andy Weekend, though you'll definitely notice I use the podcast Twitter far more often. Now that we've got you here, make sure you subscribe, like, rate us on whatever podcast platform you use. It helps us out. It gets us more reach. Subscribe to us on our YouTube channel. Like a video there. Leave some comments for more casual enjoyment. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back with some more timeless discussions about all things casual. So come hang out, and may your fifth land be the temple. Bye-bye. Should I do my best, Bruce? Bye!